Hello, I'm Beth Morrey and my debut novel, Saving Missy, is out now. It's the story of Missy Carmichael, a lonely, spiky, defensive old lady who one day in the park meets two women who offer her a different kind of life. And the question is whether she's brave enough to put the past behind her and take that second chance. I'm going to read from the beginning of chapter 8. I was a virgin, of course. This was 1956. What else could I be? An uptight 19-year-old, carefully reared in Kensington and Kirkheaton. I'd spent weeks hearing him traipse up and down my corridor on his way to Alicia's room, gramophone blaring, though not entirely drowning out the sound of that grating little giggle. Once I bumped into him en route to the bathroom in my robe and nodded awkwardly, cheeks burning with the shame of rejection, though it had never even got to that stage. Thankfully, Alicia had the decency not to ask me to let him out through my window after their late-night shenanigans. But then that just went to show, didn't it, that she knew. I didn't drink with her anymore, but found other ways to acquire alcohol. Despite my social and seductive limitations, I was not entirely a loner. Dutifully doing the usual round of parties and gatherings, I acquired a few friends and was even asked to a play by a young man from St. Catherine's. I put on my best green dress with a sweetheart neckline, my hair curled right for once, and cycled over to the ADC Theatre to meet him. He was called Percy, but I wasn't sure if it was his first name or last. He met me outside the theatre, and under the street lamp I could tell he would go bald in later life. The play wasn't a play at all, but a series of little skits, none of which I found very funny, although everyone else roared with laughter throughout. After an excruciating drink in the cafe round the corner, Percy walked me home, which was unnecessary as I had my bicycle with me, so he pushed it while I hugged my wrap round myself and wished I'd worn something warmer. Outside the door to the porter's lodge, he lunged, letting the bicycle fall to the ground in his enthusiasm. The feeling of that tongue forcing its way down my throat, his hands digging into my shoulders and ripping my dress, made me gag. He apologised afterwards. I think the experience upset him as much as me. So I apologised as well, and he picked up my bicycle like a gentleman. Then he left for his college, promising to call on me the following week, although we both knew he wouldn't. Back in my room, I cried a little and hung up my dress, although it kept slipping off the hanger because of the tear. Then I got a bottle of sherry out of my desk and poured myself a glass, and another, so that by the time Leo knocked on my door just after midnight, I was already well away. "Can I come in? Sorry, I've had rather a bad night." He leaned against the doorframe, blinking owlishly and waving a half-empty bottle of wine. I tightened the cord of my dressing gown, feeling thankful my hair was still done. Of course I let him in. I'd let him in the first moment I saw him across a crowded room. We shared the rest of the bottle as Leo told me Alicia had finished with him, that she'd met someone else, a viscount from St. John's. He was so stoic about it. Obviously I can't compete, he's got a castle in Northumberland. That when he kissed me, I didn't mind at all. He was so different from Percy or any of the other bumbling, self-absorbed boys I'd met. He just felt like my home. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then let people know or maybe buy a copy. Thank you for listening.